So to begin today, I'm going to be talking about interview questions, like if you go to a B1 visa, B1, B2 tourist visa, or just interviews in general, what they will ask you, but this particularly is mostly focusing on the tourist visa, the B1 and the B2. Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is NAFULA. If you've not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. But if you've already subscribed to my channel, I just want to say thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for sharing my videos. And thank you for even liking my videos. Before I begin, I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. I know this is the Christmas week. And also remember, if you have an extra bag of sugar, an extra bag of rice, an extra bag of ugali flour, please share with your neighbors. There's a lot of people out there that you can't even imagine. Maybe they don't have anything to have for Christmas. Make sure you share, even if it's just little. Make sure you share with your neighbors. And don't just only share my YouTube videos. Don't share only information, but if you have anything, any food, any beans, anything that you can share with your neighbor or somebody in the village who don't have anything, make sure you share so that they can enjoy Christmas as much as you're enjoying your Christmas. So to begin today, I'm going to be talking about interview questions, like if you go to a B1 visa, B1, B2 tourist visa, or just interviews in general, what they will ask you, but this particularly is mostly focusing on the tourist visa, the B1 and the B2. So we'll be talking about the interview questions. Again, I haven't been uploading a lot because I've been busy, but then I'm going to get back on track hopefully in the new year. I'll be uploading more videos than I'm doing now, but at least I'm trying to get 1 or 2 videos a week. That will do for now. So if you're watching this video, probably you're thinking of going for an interview, and the interview happens at the embassy. So I just want to give you a basic or a general idea on the interview. There'll be different questions, but usually there's just basic questions that are asked during the interview. I'm going to try to cover the majority of them. If not, I'll do the rest of them in the next video or in another video. So let's begin by just when you show up for an interview, the way you dress. You don't show up looking like you just came from a club or something like that. Just make sure you're formal. Like, your dressing usually tells a lot, especially if you're going for an interview, either if it's for a job or if it's for just to get a visa. Make sure the way you present yourself, how you dress. Don't just go there scantily dressed and stuff like that. Make sure your dress is at least formal. Okay, let's just begin by the general idea about the interviews. Usually when I interview people, usually for the most part for a job or whatever, the moment you walk into that room, that's when the interview begins. Like when somebody walks into the room, that's their interview, because just the way the non-verbal cues that you're showing while you're walking into the room tells a lot about how or what you are. Sometimes you might not even realize, but sometimes the way you present yourself just without talking tells a lot about who you really are. Pretty much your facial expressions, how you body language, how you present yourself. So when you're approaching a window, usually in the interview, when I went to the interview in Kenya at the embassy, usually it's a window, so you have to stand or something like that, or even if you have to sit down, make sure you're calm. You're not too nervous. Some people are just they like to be so nervous. Make sure you're just calm and collected. If you have to, I don't know, there's some people, they have these anxiety issues and stuff like that. Make sure you calm yourself down before showing up for an interview. Number 2, apart from being calm, also don't be too nervous. And then also your eye contact. This, for the most part, is a cultural thing. Usually people who grew up in Africa, when an elder or somebody who has higher power than you, they're talking to you. So if you did something wrong, or maybe they're trying to give you instructions and stuff like that, people in Africa, especially where you grew up, they don't look at you in the eye, especially somebody if it's your dad, or if it's somebody who's up there. Looking into their eye, it shows you're not respectful. But here is different. Like American culture is different. If you avoid eye contact, people think you're hiding something. So when you go to the interview and you're approaching the window, make sure you're looking at that person in the eye so that you maintain good eye contact, because it tells them that this is somebody who's showing up for the interview and they're ready to tell the truth and there is nothing they're hiding. So eye contact is very, very, very important. Another thing during the interview, you should be credible. Credible means like, you're believable. You're truthful in whatever you're gonna say. So you have to be convincing enough so that somebody can believe you. And this happens like, staying consistent. Like, if you're changing story, like I tell you, why are you going to America? You say this thing, and then I ask you like a few minutes later, why are you going to America? And then there's another reason. There's no consistency there. So make sure like whatever you answer, you were credible. Credibility is really important. The moment you show the interviewer that you're not credible, that you're lying, they suspect that you're gonna lie about something, they will not give you the visa. So make sure that you're credible. This is the most important thing. Stay truthful. The moment they think you're lying, you're not getting that visa. So do everything you can to maintain eye contact and be believable. So make sure you tell the truth, like you're believable, so that they know that this person is credible, they're truthful, and they're not lying. And hand in hand with that, it goes with consistency. That's how you maintain credibility. You maintain credibility by being consistent, especially like you already fill out a DS-160 before you show up for the interview. So just make sure that what you're putting on your DS-160 is the same thing. Like when they ask you the same exact question, you will not have a different response. So that's how you maintain consistency. If the stories are different, on a DS-160 you're saying one thing, and then over here on the interview you're saying a different thing, then you're not credible. They think you're lying because the stories don't match. So make sure your stories match so that you maintain consistency and you're credible. Another important thing, you have to be clear and you have to be concise. Make sure like when you're answering a question, if somebody asks you a question, don't start like telling stories and then somebody has to find an answer from your story. Make sure your story is clear, concise, and precise. Like I ask you, what are you going to do? Give me an answer of why you're going to do it. Don't tell me about a story that happened that led you to like decide to go wherever you're going. Make sure, because these people who are interviewing you, they have a lot of people they have to interview. So just think about like if you have 50 people that are waiting for you to interview, you don't want somebody to come here and tell you like stories about something that you're not even interested in. So just make sure when you ask a question, you're clear, straight to the point. Don't start beating about the bush. In Africa people like to talk. I'm a talker, so I might be tempted to tell somebody about my whole life history before I answer the question. Don't do that. When they ask you a question, just answer that question. And what goes along with that, if you're asked a question, just answer only the question you're asked. Don't start answering questions that they've not even asked you, because you run into problems where you might say something that will make the interviewer think you're not credible or something like that. When I ask you, why are you going to America? Just answer about the reason why you're going. Don't give other reasons or don't answer any questions that you're not asked. And this is important. Only answer questions that you are asked. So if a question has not been asked, don't bother answering. Don't read a script where somebody will be like, oh, you'll be asked this, and then you're running out of time and you're like, why is this interviewer not asking me this? And then you decide to answer the question that you're not asked. Don't do that. Answer only the questions that you are asked, and make sure you provide enough detail in the question so that they don't ask you, like if I ask you a reason for visit, don't tell me, okay, when somebody's asking you, why are you going to America? Don't say, I'm going to America to visit family. You have to explain in detail, because you already said in your DS-160 that you're going to visit family. So they already know that. They know that you're going to visit your family. But now if I'm asking you the same question, it means I need more information, right? So make sure you provide more detail if a question you already answered in your DS-160 and is being asked again. Another thing that you might be required to provide is the supporting documents. So they will ask you, like, if you have any bank statements or anything related to your, application. Those documents, usually they are asked at the interview. It's important that you arrange them. Like, I remember when I went to the interview, as much as it was for a student visa, I had everything arranged. Like, if you have to buy like a file, or you have to buy like a binder or something like that, and you separate them. You're like, okay, this is my passport. So if they ask me for a passport, I'm not going to be fumbling in here to look for a passport. I'll just be like, hey, here it is. If they ask you for a bank statement, you're like, okay, here it is. They ask you for whatever they need to ask. You just provide. You don't look for it. Because they don't have time. Those people, they have to interview a lot of people. You have to understand that. So make sure your documents are arranged. And then another thing that goes hand in hand with the documents, when they ask you for documents, supporting documents, they will specifically ask you, give me this or this. Oh, okay, you're saying that. So what do you have? What proof do you have of funds? Or what proof do you have for blah, blah, blah? Only provide documents that you have been asked. Don't provide anything else. They ask you for a bank statement, you're giving the bank statement and only the bank statement. They're asking you for a passport, you provide only the passport and nothing else. It's important that you provide only the documents that have been asked, not everything that you came with. It does not mean like if you came with, your title deed, they might ask for it or whatever. Unless when you ask, they'll be like, okay, do you have anything more? Then you can give in. And if you like the content of my videos, please don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to share. Because when you like a video, it gets recommended to other users on YouTube. So other people actually see it and learn the same information you're learning. Your friend can also learn it because you liked it. So if you liked, it gets pushed to other users on YouTube. So it's important you like this video, you share, and also if you've not subscribed, please subscribe. But if you've already subscribed, guys, welcome to the community. Another thing along with the documents, when you're giving them the document, like, when you're giving them, they ask you for something, usually like, people from back home, usually they're a little bit shy when they go, like, not really shy, but they're really intimidated. Like, when they go to the interview, they see this person, they have, they're in the consulate and all that, they're in the embassy, and they think they're this big person. So they kind of like intimidated. So they are like, they shy or they hold back. So when you go to the window, try to not to talk to them. Like if you're giving them, they ask you for their passport, don't just go like, here's a passport, Go like, okay, here it is, say something. Don't just like throw the passport and then try to be like, personable. Don't just go there and then just wait for question, answer. So make sure it's kind of like an interaction, like, you're talking to them. They're not just asking and then you're answering. Like be personable, like try to like, interact. You're not talking too much to them. But then you're just like, okay, here it is. Or, oh, thank you, throw in words like that. So that it shows like it's an interaction and not more of like just a question and an answer kind of type of situation. And also with the answers, just make sure they're short, Don't, as much as, I said, like, when they ask you, you provide details. You provide the details in there, but don't try to tell a story. Be short. Just understand that they have a lot of people they have to interview. So make sure you are short. Your answers are short, straight to the point, and then they have all the information that is needed in that question or whatever you've been asked. So provide everything, but just make sure it's brief, concise, and straight to the point. And then if you have to take anything from this video, then take this. If they ask you a question and you don't know the answer to the question, do not guess. Do not guess the answer. It is okay to say, I don't know. It is okay to say, I'm not sure. But don't go there guessing the answer when, like, you don't know the answer to the question. I remember there's somebody who, I think they asked them a question about, terrorism and stuff like that. But because they were not sure, they didn't understand either the English or whatever, they just said yes. And then there was a question about like if they were planning on engaging in terrorist activity when they get here. They said yes. So this person, they were just asking them like, if they're planning on engaging in terrorist activity when they come here. But then because either the English was too fast or they didn't understand what the interviewer was asking, they said yes. And then they repeated the question and they said yes. The English was too much for them. They didn't understand what was being asked. But then instead of like, can you repeat it in a simpler, words or whatever, I don't understand the question, instead of clarifying the question, they guessed or just said yes. And then they ended up, getting denied the visa, because when you're planning to engage in terrorist activity when you get here, that's ground for like visa denial. Nobody's going to get you a visa to come and blow people up, right? So it's important, if you don't understand the question, either ask for clarification, or if you don't know the answer to the question, it's okay to say, I don't know the answer, or I'm not sure, or I have to check on that, or I forgot to I didn't get details on that, or I didn't bring that. Don't guess, don't lie, don't provide an answer that you're not very sure. So make sure all the questions that you ask, you know the answers to them. But if you're unsure of the question, or you're unsure, you don't know the answer, do not guess. Because you might guess an answer that actually is bad, that will really lead to your visa denial. Okay, now let's get to the serious business. So when you go for the interview, why are they asking you to go for an interview? What are they trying to establish, right? So when you applied for a tourist visa or a visitor's visa, so when you go for an interview, what are they trying to establish? They're trying to establish two basic or major things. One is your immigrant intent. And what does that mean? Immigrant intent means that if they give you the visa, what are the chances that you're going back home? What are the chances that after you finish your whatever months that they gave you, you will return to your home country? So that's the immigrant intent. So they have to establish beyond reasonable doubt that this person has high chances of returning back home, because this is a non-immigrant visa. The second thing that they're trying to establish when you go for an interview, they're trying to establish an authorized work in the United States. When you're on a visitor's visa or on a B1 or a B2 visa, that's not a working visa. And when I talk about unauthorized work, I'm not talking about only work that you can get paid. Like if you're going to work, whether you're getting paid or you're not getting paid, that is unauthorized work. What does that mean? If you're coming here and then they figure out you're going to watch somebody's kid, you're like, oh, my friend has a baby and does not have help, and I'm going there to watch the baby, even if you're not getting paid. So you already showed them that you're planning on engaging in unauthorized work. You're going to watch a kid for your friend, but because they have to go to work, you're working because you're watching their child. So that's unauthorized work. So when you answer these questions, you have to be very careful that you don't ring a bell that says, hey, this one has an immigrant intent, or this one plans to engage in unauthorized work, because then you won't get the visa. Because that's the whole purpose of the interview, to make sure you'll return back home, and when you're here, you don't plan on working. So everybody who's putting in the comment section asking me oh, what if I get a tourist visa? How can I get a job? There's no way you can legally get a job on a B1 visa. There's no way you can get a job on a B1 visa. So unless you're adjusting your status and you received your authorization to work, then that gives you a go-ahead. You have a work permit or whatever. You can get a social security number, and then you can start working. People on B1, B2 visa, they don't have a social security number. So how are you supposed to work when you don't have a social security number? A lot of people who work, they do that, but it's illegal. If they find out, you'll get deported, or if you apply for adjustment of status, unless you qualify in the family category or whatever that can get a waiver for working illegally, you will not get your visa approved. So you have to make sure that while you're here, you don't work or you don't engage in unauthorized work on a visitor's visa. So the two things, very important: you have to show them you don't plan on staying here after your visit. So that's number 2, you do not plan on working. So number 1, you have to establish that you don't have any immigrant intent, and number 2, you do not plan on working, engaging in unauthorized work while you're here. So every answer you provide to your questions at the embassy, you should be putting that at the back of your mind. You're like, if I say this, will they think I'm going to work? Will they think I'm planning on staying there? You know? So that is what usually the B1, B2 visa is at the interview question. Just to establish the immigrant intent, and then also to establish that there's nothing about you working without authorization in the United States. Because B1, B2 is a non-immigrant visa, and therefore you don't have a social security number on the B1, B2, and you cannot work legally unless you receive authorization to work in another way. Okay, now let's jump to the actual interview. So they will ask you the purpose of the visit. Why do you want to go to the United States? Also, what is the reason of your visit? That's the same question. Why are you coming here? So when they ask you this question, you have to put in mind that you already completed your DS 160 before you showed up for the interview. And those people already looked at it. They looked at the DS 160 already. So in your DS 160, if you put that your purpose of visit is to come, visit family, or you come for a conference, or you're coming for a vacation, you already put that there, and they already read it. They're aware of what you put on your DS 160. And that's it today. So let's meet next time on an educational packed video again. See you in my next video. For right now, thanks for watching.